Using a 19mm socket, let's go ahead and remove our lug nuts. Remove the wheel and set it aside. Using a 14mm socket, we're going to remove our slide pin bolts here. Slide that off. We're going to go ahead and pull our slide pins. I'm going to pull these here. What we're going to do is we're going to add a thin coat of grease to these here. Not a lot. We just want to add a little bit more than what the original part came with. And go ahead and slide that in. Go ahead and do the same for the other. I'm going to take a light coating of grease and we're just going to dab this in and kind of coat the area where our brake pad slides are going to go. Take your slide here. I'm going to go ahead and position that correctly. And go ahead and press this down in a position. Make sure it's fully seated. Repeat for the other side. Light film of grease. Now in the key in the on position, that's going to allow us to go ahead and grab our brake system here and just manually rotate it like so. Now once we have our wheel turned, we're going to be able to go ahead and see this bolt right here. This goes to our brake flex hose here. We're going to loosen this and then snug it back up. We're not going to make it super tight, but we just want to break it free and then snug it up. Have a catch can or some rags underneath because brake fluid will start to seep out of this here. And then we're just going to snug that slightly just to stop the leak. Using a 12mm socket, we're going to go ahead and loosen our lower caliper bolt. I'm not going to remove this yet. Just going to spin it out a few threads. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove the upper bolt. Now I'm holding on to the caliper itself because once you remove these bolts, the caliper will want to drop out. I'm going to go ahead and grab our caliper. And we're going to have our tool here to support it. You can use a strap or whatever. And we're just going to hang this up and out of the way. Remove your brake pads. Set those aside. Using a 17mm socket, let's go ahead and remove our two brake caliper bracket bolts. I'm going to loosen this one first. Go ahead and loosen this one. I'm going to hold the bracket, loosen and remove both of these bolts. Take your new bracket, slide that into place. I'm going to go ahead and get the upper bolt cut here. Get that cut a few threads. And then we'll go ahead and get the bottom bolt in, and we'll catch that. Let's go ahead and snug those down. Torque your caliper bracket bolts to 80 foot-pounds. Repeat for the top. Install your brake pads. Make sure that your back pad has the squeak tab on the bottom. You want to take your spring clips or anti-rattle clips, and those go in there. Do the same for the bottom side here. I'm going to go ahead and install our caliper. And get our upper bolt cut and get the bottom one in. Let's go ahead and snug those down. Down our caliper bolts to 37 foot-pounds. Remove your bolt and 2 copper washers for our brake flex hose. Our brake bleeder screw has a rubber cap on it. Simply pull that off. And we're going to use our 10mm gear wrench here. You can use a regular wrench. And we're just going to loosen this just a tad. Let's go ahead and grab our brake caliper. We're going to remove our hanger. And here's why we pre-loosen this here. We want to go ahead and remove this bolt. Now, there's going to be a copper washer on each side of this hose here. There's going to be one underneath the bolt head and one on the other side between the hose and the caliper. You're going to have your catch can underneath. Remove the bolt. There is one washer on that. Pop the hose off, and there's another washer on the caliper. New bolt with one washer. Put that through. Washer on the other side. Go ahead and install that onto the back side of your caliper. And we'll snug this down. We'll go ahead and wipe down any residual brake fluid. Let's go ahead and torque down our bolt for our brake flexos to 26 foot-pounds. And we have our brake bleeder screw open. You can see brake fluid is now starting to come out of that. Let's go ahead and snug down our bleeder screw here. Wipe down the residual fluid. Now at this point, you want to go ahead and pump up the brakes, get in the vehicle, press that pedal. It's going to go to the floor the first couple times, then it should start to firm up. And come back out here. You can then go ahead and open this up again. Just check for any air, seal it up. Pump up the brakes again if everything feels good at that point there. Go ahead and install your bleeder cap and install your wheel. Let's go ahead and install your wheel. So we're going to get our lug nuts all started by hand. Once these are on, we'll go ahead and snug them down. Let's go ahead and torque our lug nuts down to 80 foot-pounds.